Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review, and next up is the Hasbro Power Rangers Lightning Collection Wave 7 Mighty Morphin Z Putty. Now this is not just any old Putty Patroller. This is of course the Putty that was introduced when Lord Zedd took over for Rita Repulsa. He had a redesigned Putty Patrol made by Finster, I guess. I honestly don't remember a whole lot about it. And I think this was just something for the US. I don't think this was something in Japan because Lord Zedd was made for Power Rangers and was not from the Sentai show. So it's kind of interesting the way they did it, especially, you know, growing up and hearing about and learning about these things after the fact, you know, years later. But really awesome that we actually got this. It's a little bit of a change up from the previous Putty that we got. I have that 2-pack Putty Patrol that I haven't even reviewed yet, and I will, I think, at some point review it now that we got this one here. But packaging looks really good. We get a Putty Patroller. You see it wraps around there. Same artwork on the side. Back of the package, we just have a look at the figure. One of the interesting things is he is an army builder and he is one per case. What is Hasbro doing? They do this with all their lines: Marvel Legends, Star Wars Black Series, G.I. Joe. It's the army builder that gets one per case, but it helps build the hype and demand for some of these figures. So I get it from a business aspect, but from a collector standpoint, it sucks, right? Anyway, let's get to it and open this up. Okay, and here is the Z Putty out of the package, and there's some really good things about here. It is not basically just a reissue of the previous Putty. There are definitely some differences that we get in here. So he has different boots, different shoes, of course. The knee pads are different, and then the actual torso piece should be different as well, because these guys, you know, they had a belt, but the Z Putty does not. The rest of it is probably the same. We get some of those new pieces, and there's some different things going on with the paint. So we'll get into a better side-by-side comparison a little bit later in the video. First, let's zoom in on the accessories, and then we'll take a closer look at the figure. Okay, so in terms of accessories, we get this really awesome blast effect piece that's here. Now on the back of the package, it looked like really purple and blue. We get blue, and then this purple color is just very dark, so I'm not sure how they got it to look so bright. Obviously computer rendering or just lighting, and they, you know, touched up the paint, but it's really cool that this can kind of wrap around and it kind of makes it look like he's doing kind of that exploding effect that, you know, in the show when they finally beat him down and they hit him right in that Z. You would have this, and then he'd kind of break down. So this is kind of that start. So you know, Red Ranger or somebody will come through, punch them, and then the breakdown will start to happen. So that's really cool. A nice little thing that they did, and it just kind of wraps around and sits on the figure like so. We get this flame effect that goes onto a fist. I'm not the biggest fan of it because I don't think it really makes sense in terms of the Putty, because it's not like they had like this, you know, effect. You know, if they hit them, you'd see sparks and stuff like that. So I guess maybe that's kind of the idea, but it's just one of those things that seems a little odd to me, but another effect piece, so why not? And then we get interchangeable arms for the Putty, and that kind of goes along the forearm. So out of the package on the left, we get an open hand, and then we get a gun holding hand for the left. That one's kind of weird. Why two open hands for the left? And then for the right, we have that same like holding hand and then a fist. So why wouldn't we just get like another fist for the left? Kind of weird. So let's take a closer look at the figure now. Okay, so taking a closer look at the Z Putty, one thing that Hasbro finally did, and I think they should have done this from the very beginning, is you notice the face part, that stone portion, it's actually a darker color from the suit. Something that they didn't do in that first release, in that 2-pack with the Fighting Spirit Green Ranger. They did at least paint black in there for the mouth, where on the new one, they did not. They just left it the same color as the face. And then the 2-pack, of course, was the same thing. They did not paint the faces. So I'm glad that they did it for the Z Putty. That is really nice. But another thing that they should have done in terms of paint, they should have painted the circle and the Z, I think, a silver color. I think it would have helped stand out a little bit more and make it look a little bit more accurate. It's just kind of a funky design to begin with. How it translates into figure form is a little weird, and I think it's just because of the color of like this shield piece. It just looks a little strange on there. It almost looks like he's wearing a sports bra kind of thing. So it's just kind of odd. It's not terrible. It is fairly accurate. I just think the color is really what's throwing it off. And, you know, of course, it's a softer plastic. Not that you can really move it around on the figure, but, you know, naturally, of course, a color variation is going to happen, although the knee pads and the boots kind of match it. To me, it seems like a little bit of an odd color choice where it should have been a little bit more, I think, lighter in color, and then, you know, definitely should have been a silver for the Z, in my opinion. Now, the arms and stuff, they all look really good. This isn't anything new. We've seen these before with the 2-pack and the previous putty. Some of the hands are different, yes, but we have seen these things before, and they are a little bit different in terms of the color. They are much darker color. So we have this the 2-pack release from the Fighting Spirit, and then the 2-pack from the Putty Patrol 2-pack that was exclusive to Hasbro is about the same color as the first one, or a little bit off. This one, the new one's definitely the darkest of the Putty Patroller releases, but they do look really good there. Looking at the knee pads, those look pretty good with the Z's on there, and then we get the boots that tie up. So good looking figure, nothing on the back, it's completely blank, but good looking figure. Now let's zoom out for the articulation. And of course, here is the Putty Patrol, the Z Putty actually wearing that effect piece, so you could see exactly kind of how it would work exactly, and that does look really cool. Okay, and for your side-by-side comparisons of the various different Putty Patrollers, we have the 2-pack Fighting Spirit with the Green Ranger, Fighting Spirit Green Ranger, the 2-pack release that was exclusive to Hasbro Pulse. So there you can see they are, so it kind of goes light to dark to darkest in terms of like the arms, the stone of the arms. So it gets darker as they really go along, but you can see the difference again in those knee pads and the boots. They are still about the same height, so it doesn't really change anything from that standpoint, but I do really think that this new one does have a better overall look. Now, of course, these arms and everything, they're all going to be interchangeable, but keep in mind that if you use like this ball one with this Z Putty, the two aren't going to match, so you want to switch both arms to do that, and that would really work out. One thing that I'd really like to see though is I'm going to pop the head off of the Z Putty, and let's pop it on one of these regular Putty Patrollers, because I think this is going to look really good. Oh yes, that looks fantastic, and I think that is what we should have gotten before, instead of the no paint to the face of the Putty Patroller. So I think all of them definitely should have had this head sculpt. It's unfortunate that they did not, but maybe Hasbro will do, Hasbro Pulse will release a 2-pack of the Z Putty to continue army building Putty Patrollers. Will that actually happen? I don't see that happening, because this one is a regular release $20 figure. The other Putty was in a 2-pack, so they can kind of fudge it that way. Say, oh, you know, it was a 2-pack, it wasn't a standard release. You know, we can release it in a 2-pack at basically the $15 each price range, whereas this Z Putty being packaged by itself was already $20. So I don't see them doing 2 of these and then marking each one down $5 to hit that $30 mark on a 2-pack. We shall see, but I just don't see that happening. And just for the fun of it, before we close off this clip, yeah, I don't like the way that looks. It's not terrible, but no. Okay, and to close it off and give you my final thoughts, here we have Lord Zed and Rita Repulsa, each with their respective Putty Patrollers behind them. So when you kind of build it all together, depending on which putty you prefer, you kind of go through some things. So the Z Putty came in, you know, second season. So I would imagine the Z Putties were actually in more episodes than the regular ones. I actually don't know that. If somebody could fact check that and let me know down in the comments below. From what I remember and what I would think, right? Season 2, Season 3 would have been the Z Putty and not the regular Putty. So the Z Putty should have been in it more, right? The regular Putty is more iconic because of that first season, right? That's what we all really remember, was everything original in that first season, plus Super Sentai, of course. So we kind of go from there. But they all look really good together. You guys let me know down in the comments below which Putty Patroller you prefer, which is your favorite, what is your thoughts on this figure, what are your thoughts on Wave 7? Hopefully I'll have the rest soon. The Green Ranger with the original Green Ranger with the Tommy Oliver head sculpt with the bandana, and then the Dino Thunder Red Ranger. I'd also like to give a big shout out and thank you to Rube the Great for finding the Z Putty at his local Walmart in Texas, and he promptly shipped it out to me. So Ruben, I really appreciate appreciate it. Thank you so much, brother. Links to his Instagram and YouTube down in the video description below. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and as always, thank you for watching.